this video, I'm going to show you how to build your first AI automation, and I'm going to give you all of the tips and tricks I have learned over the past 3 years. And if you want my full help every day a new lesson, every day my guidance and all of that, I have a 14-day free course within my community, so you can join for free through the link in the description, and you can always DM me there. Let's get started with the video. So firstly, after you log in into make.com, you create an account, you will be greeted with something like this. This is an interface. You can see you have your credits here. If you're on the free plan, you have 1,000 credits for free, and they reset every 30 days, so you have some credits to play around with. Below this, you see your data usage, so all of the data size you have imported or exported and the credits you have actually used in each scenario. And if you slide down below, you see your active scenarios. Probably you have none if you created a new account. Here on top, you can create a new scenario, but before we do that, I just want to quickly go over this, what we have on the left side. So you can see the organization. This is where we are right now. Now you have the scenarios, which is very important. Here you have all of the scenarios. Below that, you can see AI agents and some other stuff that we don't have to go into right now because it's not really that important. So we're going to click create a new scenario, and we're going to be greeted with this. This is where you're going to actually build out all of your scenarios. By the way, some automations require more scenarios. We will get into that later. So firstly, before we actually add any modules or stuff like that, let's look down here at this panel, right? You can see you have this run once button. Once you click it, you basically start the automation. Here you can actually set it to run with existing data. So you can use data from an existing run to test your scenario, or reprocess it with this scenario version, because every time you save the scenario, which you can do right here, you create a new version of the scenario and you can get back to all the versions, if you get what I mean. Here you have every 15 minutes. If you turn this on, even though we can't because can't schedule an empty scenario, obviously we firstly have to create something. The scenario will run automatically every 15 minutes. This is pretty useful if you're trying to, for example, post something on Instagram and you're trying to post every X amount of time. You can set it here and it will do its thing on autopilot. Here you have undo or redo. Here you have auto align. I will show you what that means, explain flow, and bunch of other stuff. If you are inside my community, you can go to these 3 dots and import any blueprint I have there. If you go to the template section, so this is pretty useful for you. Let's actually build out something first, right? So if you click on this big plus, you will be greeted with this. This is like a rectangle where we will be choosing all of the apps or tools that are within Make. If you go to all apps, you can see there is a bunch of integrations you can actually connect. To basically use each of them, you need to create a connection. Probably what you will want to use is OpenAI or any large language model. We will, for example, go with create a response. Now we are here. We have the module set, right? But to actually run it or to use it somehow, we firstly need to do a connection. I already have it here, but you will click on this add, and what you need to do is you need to go to an API key section. If you don't have an OpenAI account, just create it, but I assume you already have that. It's not really hard to do. And here you just go to this link. It will take you to OpenAI platform. It will load, and here you will see all of your API keys. What even is an API key? Just quickly, API key is a key that opens the door between make.com and, for example, in this case, OpenAI, right? So it allows it to connect basically. So once we're here, you're going to go to create a new secret key. You can name it. Project is going to be default project and permissions is going to be set to all, and you just create a secret key. I'm not going to do that because I already have a connection, but once you do it, you paste the key right here. You don't have to add any organization ID and you just hit save. Don't show the API key to anyone or don't share it anywhere, because whoever has that API key can use your OpenAI account and you really don't want that. So let's actually look at the few things we have here. You can see the model. You can obviously use any GPT that you like, but a disclaimer, if you use the newest one, it's going to cost you the most. So even though it says cost efficient, I would still, for some simple prompts, use, for example, GPT-4. Now we can choose a prompt type, either text prompt, image prompt, file prompt, reusable prompt, or advanced input. Obviously, if you choose text prompt, which is most likely, you will just write the prompt. And a prompt is just a text input to the model. So it is like an equivalent to a text input with the user role, okay? So what you write here is what would you write to OpenAI, or my bad, to GPT if you would be using the app. Very simple. So if we say create me a message for my community that I am, my bad, recording a new video, use emojis. Then we have max output tokens. This is how much tokens the GPT module will use, and an upper bound for the number of tokens that can be, doesn't mean that they have to be all of them, but can be generated for a response, including visible output tokens and reasoning tokens. And then you can add some tools, which, you know, are like skills, file search functions, and that. We don't need that. We just want a very simple prompt, and we didn't choose the module, so let me just go with GPT-4. Let me hit save, and again, value must not be empty. Yeah, let's not do that right now. Just hit save, and let's use this run once button. Prompt type value must be empty, so maybe it didn't save. I'm not really sure. Yeah, we didn't hit save. So now we run once, and now GPT is creating according to the prompt. When an operation is done, you will be greeted with this, which is like another basically box, and you can see the input you gave. So create me a message for my community that I'm recording a new video, use emojis. Model is GPT-4. This is some quick information. Reasoning is empty, output format is empty, and the output, which is what GPT created and gave us, is this result. And you can see here we have this beautiful message to my community, and we have it in this variable, which is called result. Speaking of variables, right? If you want to actually use this data and you want to format it, you go into these built-in tools. And again, I'm saying this, guys, if you want the whole in-depth version of this, where I cover all of these tools, all of the modules, how to do every connection, how to build like 8 automations that you can use or sell, go into my community, sign up for free, and watch it day by day, 14 days, and you will learn everything you need to know. Of course, then I have some advanced courses and AI automation masterclasses, or masterclasses on AI as a whole, like how to use GPT, Claude Code, Leonardo AI, how to do visuals with AI, or even how to build AI agents, which goes hand in hand with AI automations, right? You can actually connect Make with your AI agent, so it is more advanced. Stuff like automatic knowledge base and stuff, everything is inside the community. So I would highly advise you to check it out. But back to the point, if you go to tools, you click on it, and you go here into set a variable, we will give the variable a name. So we will go with something like message. You can name it however you want it. And you go to the result, you place it. So now we basically saved the result, and we're continuing only with the result information, exactly what we need. And now we go, for example, again to some, either we can save it to Airtable or to Google Sheets. But what if I wanted to post it? Let's say on LinkedIn, right? Let's say we will post something on LinkedIn. So we will go to create a user text post. We will do a LinkedIn connection. Again, how to do that? You go with LinkedIn, you save it, and then it will redirect you to LinkedIn. You will just sign up and you have the connection. The content is going to be the message. This module is a little bit different because we're connecting to an app that is not a large language model. It's a social media app, so it looks a little bit different here, but that's exactly why I'm doing this. So you can even mention someone. We don't want that. We just want to post this result. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit save. If we want the visibility to be anyone, I'm going to hit save, but here I'm going to go and change the prompt, so I actually have something that I want to post to LinkedIn. So I have created a new prompt which says create me a post for LinkedIn about my AI community called FutureMinds AI, shortly FMA. Use a strong hook to catch the attention of the reader and keep the text short and structured. At the end, include this link with this text. And I have put it into these brackets, and it says join here and the link to my school community and the link to my community. So we're going to hit save. We're going to run this once, and let's see if it actually works. It should take around 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. Nothing crazy. It was even faster than that. We can see that we got the variable here, which is message, and we have the text here. So this is how the basically posts should look like. So it has some hook. Do I like it? Not much. It isn't my style really, but this is exactly why you need to play with GPT. And what I would do here is I would actually use a template that I would actually provide GPT with a template. So I will say use this as an template. I will do this again, 2 dots, brackets, or actually enter, brackets, and I will paste the template right here. So we can see I have provided, use this as a temp. So as you can see, I have provided the template. I have basically chosen one of my posts I really like. It's very short. It's exactly what I want it to be. So let's hit save and let's actually run this once. And let's see if this time it's going to be any better. Okay, so now we can see the post. It should look something like this. Let's actually take a look if LinkedIn has actually received it. Everything looks good. We're on the main feed. We're public. So we can even look at the post ID right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my LinkedIn. I'm going to go to my profile. Actually, let's take a look and boom, we can see here these two posts. This one looks like this. This one looks like this. So if we see, this is the whole post right here. I like this one more. So I'm actually going to keep this anyways. This is pretty long. This is shorter, exactly how I wanted it. So this is how you automate your posts and how to get the most out of Make.
Okay, and before we get into the, I would say, boring stuff, which is the little details and how to, for example, organize your scenario, let's actually take a look at few of these automations so I give you an idea of what you can actually automate, okay? Let's start with something no, let's start with the good one, okay? Let's start with this one. This one is a receive emails from instantly. Let me just quickly go over all of these things and what they do so you understand Make way better. So, firstly, we have this webhook, right? If you never heard of it, if you're a complete beginner, webhook basically connects two scenarios or two applications. The webhook has an API, no, not an API, my bad, has a URL address basically. So you can either, and this is going to be a little bit complicated, you can either have another scenario that, for example, has this HTTP module sent to post, and you're basically sending something to this URL. So this webhook could be, for example, connected to another webhook. Sorry, this HTTP module could be connected to another webhook in another scenario, and this is how we would basically connect them, right? Or it can be connected to another app. In this case, it is connected to another scenario, which is basically creating, or not creating, but taking emails from a Google Sheet and formatting them and sending them right here. Here we have a few filters. So if the success is true, which means if the email is actually true, we send it over. And if it's not, if it has some data error, we just go here to this resume. So we basically ignore the error and we continue with another one, because here we're sending 2.5k emails, right, on one run. So you need to have this, otherwise you would run this whole scenario with a failed email and you would just waste, even if 3 operations, sometimes it's like 200 emails that are errored, right? So you would genuinely waste 600 operations, and that can get pretty costly, right? So that's why we have these, I would say, error handlers set as filters. So, okay, if we actually pass it, we go here, we somehow verify the email again, we send it through HTTP. So we're sending this format, which again is JSON, application JSON, right? So we're sending this to another app, as you can see here, email guard, right? We're sending it to email guard, which again formats the emails a little bit and tells us if the email is Google or if it's some other provider, right? Now we go to router, and again we have 3 filters here, and what this basically does is we have 3 variants of how to process the emails, okay? If the email, if I'm not mistaken, is here email host not equal to Google, okay? So if the email is not provided by Google, if it's not a Gmail email basically, we will go here. We will create the icebreaker, as you can see here. I'm going to show you the prompt. Here, as we talked about it, you create a select method, create a chat completion, you go to the model. Now you have messages, right? Be helpful, intelligent writing assistant. Now we have the role of the user. Write a personalized icebreaker to be used in a cold email. Use the provided LinkedIn profile as information, blah, 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 blah. Never output this JSON. Then we have some basically template, right? With information and assistant. This is how it should look like. And we have another one, another example, right? So if he receives this, he should create basically this, okay? And as you can see, it is in JSON format. It is ending in these brackets. So it 100% is an JSON format. So we save it, and now we go to JSON, right? We go to parse JSON, then we save it to multiple variables as icebreaker. We kind of format it. so it makes a little bit more sense. And then we just send it to another app, as you can see again, post to instantly, which then is another application basically that sends out emails. It's an automation on its own. If it is not Google again, but it is not validated, it is not like 100% a good email, we go to another app where we basically validate them, and here we have a check. If the result is catch-all or valid, we send it through. If not, it gets stuck in the filter and we just ignore the email completely. So again, only the good ones go here through the same process and we send them. And if the email is actually Google, as you can see, if the data email host from this one equals to Google, as you can see here. And by the way, if you click on it, you can see that this module kind of starts bouncing. So we know that it is, it is connected to this one. If it is Google, we just save it to Google Sheet, because back in the day, maybe still Google emails had some problem when you send it, when you did mass outreach. So, it was a whole another process. We didn't want to basically mess up the response rate. Anyways, this is a little bit of a harder automation. So I have tried to explain very fastly. You cannot do this in such a fast way, but I just wanted to give you some idea of what an more complex automation looks like. This is not even the whole thing, because we have another automation, right, that you could imagine would be here, but it's just in another scenario. And yeah, this is for this big automation. Let's actually look at something a little bit more simple. We can go into this automation. And by the way, all of these automations that I'm covering here, they are built step by step inside my school community called FutureMinds AI, as I already showed you. So you can join for free and take a look at them. 100% would advise you to do that, because yes, I'm giving you a lot of free value on YouTube, or at least I think. You can let me know in the comments. Always it's better to be in the community, because I really, really am there every single day helping people and building with them. Anyways, this automation is a very simple one, but very useful one. You basically respond to emails, right? You're watching emails through this module, Gmail module called Watch Emails. So yes, it actually watches emails. You just, do a connection, and every time, if you have the scenario active, by the way, you need to turn it on active. And on the free plan, you can have only 2 active scenarios. So if you have it turned on active, every time somebody sends you an email, this email that someone sent you will go through this module. It will activate the scenario, and this module will send it to GPT, which here we have the text prompt. Create me an email that will respond to this message. So we basically send the email somebody sent us. Greet the user with the first name from name, right? Because, we have all of these variables, and we have that it's from this name, from this email, and all that stuff. Now we basically create a response, and here we just send the response back, right? We have all the informations, because the recipient email address is the one that send us the email. The subject line is going to be the same as we received. It's just going to be like response, and the only thing we actually create is the result, is basically the response. Okay, I messed up something. No, I don't want another recipient email. You can actually send 2 more emails, as you can see, but we don't want that. And here also is something missing. I just didn't hit save. Yeah. So again, very simple automation, but pretty useful one. As you can see, you can automate your email process. Let's actually look at some automation that sends out messages to Telegram through Telegram bots to 3 different chats. This is again a pretty useful one. Also, if you run some group on Telegram, you can see the user. Your purpose is to output randomly a number between 1 to 3, for example 2. So it will always output a number, right? So for example, every 1 hour it will output a number. We will go into the router. Here you can see if it is 1, we will go here. If it is 2, we will go here. If it's 3, we will go here. So if we go here, you will basically say, you're a professional muscle building expert assistant. User, create me a short engaging response for blah, 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 blah. We save it and we send it to the chat. If it is 2, we have something else, in my opinion. You're a professional health expert. So again, we basically create some prompt with, this is a pretty detailed prompt. Generate a short, engaging biohacking tip for men aged 17 to 30. Focus on improving health and fitness, blah, 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 blah. Or if it is 3, we will go here, and it is probably something about money making. You're a professional muscle building expert. Again, okay, muscle building, right? So we basically randomized it. This is also a way to randomize it. So we always have like a randomized basically messages, right, through these 3 GPT modules. So for example, if you set it to every 1 hour, it will choose one of these paths and send out one message, right? So again, pretty useful one if you're trying to automate something like a newsletter. This could be applied to emails too. You know, you could just have emails here. You could just have LinkedIn posts or Instagram posts or Facebook or even YouTube videos. You know, you could place this, right, the randomized number. Then here you would have a Google Sheet and it would choose from that Google Sheet a random video and you would just send it to even one of your YouTube channels. You could have more, right? Or just one of your YouTube channels and create a description, create everything. It is a bit more complex. I still do it by hand normally, but you could definitely do that or even create ideas for YouTube videos, create ideas for recipes. You know, every day you could have a new recipe. I don't know, you could give it your wardrobe, for example, and it would just build out your outfits or literally whatever you can or whatever you want you can automate. It's that simple. Okay, and for the last automation, before we actually move into the basics or the details, as I said, we will look at this one. It is something, again, completely different. It is a weather automation. This one, to be honest, I've just built it out to showcase to my community what is actually possible. So you have this weather module, which will get you I will actually show you what it will get you. If you run this module, it will give you the temperature during the day, the minimum temperature, the maximum temperature at night, evening, morning, here, atmospheric pressure, air humidity, like as you can see everything, right? Sky is clear. Is it going to be raining? Okay, my bad, somebody just joined the community, so I really had to, I always text them, I always, engage with them. Anyways, back to the video. So the sky is clear, the code is this and that. So we just save it to a variable, anything or everything that we want. So the date, of course, the temperature, maximum and minimum, and we just save it to Google Sheet just to basically, predict the weather. So every single day you can open up a Google Sheet and just look what the weather is. Do you need to do that? Obviously no, because you have an application on your phone. But if you would want that, if you would want to actually every day, instead of this Google Sheet, we can unlink this. If you would want to send it to, for example, your iPhone, did you really think we cannot do that? Let me go, no, Apple iOS, let me go right here. We can send the message. We just connect your phone. You need to download the Make application on your phone. And every day you could send out like, hey, this is the weather of today, and you just send it out. Like every morning once you wake up. Pretty useful, right? Way better than to Google Sheet, to be honest. So yeah, this is it, guys, for these automations. So let's actually look at the other stuff, and yeah, let's get it.
What the auto align and other functions I've previously talked about do. If you, for example, have a bunch of modules that aren't really connected in any way and they're just really, really messy, let me just create something real quickly. Just do router right here, right? Google Sheets, this, that. Everything's kind of messy, right? So if you go here into the auto align, you click it, and make.com will automatically align everything for you, so it makes the most sense, and it basically shows you the flow of information from each module to another one. Then we have explain flow. So this basically is a visualization of how the automation works, as you can see right here. Pretty cool. Then we have scenario inputs and outputs. Then we have scenario notes. If you right click into any module, you can actually add a note right here. So for example, fix this later, you hit OK, and now you can see this note right here. If you click on it, you can see it right here. Pretty useful also if you're building with someone on the same account. And you can see version history. As you can see, this was the versions I was talking about. If we save this scenario right now, we hit save anyway, even though we haven't really connected these. We can look at the versions and we can see we have two versions. If we go into this one, restore version, we're back to nothing. And if we go back, we can go back to this version. Pretty cool, as I said. And yep, this is it for the video. Leave a comment on what would you like to see next. I hope I covered the basics pretty quickly. We have built a simple automation. I've explained the large language models, the tools modules, and social media modules. There's way more. As I said, you can join the community to find out, and see you in the next one.